I'm not someone who scares easily. I've traveled alone plenty of times, stayed in dozens of hotels, motels, roadside inns. I know how to be comfortable in unfamiliar places. So when I booked the top floor suite at the Hargrove Hotel, I wasn't thinking about anything except the view. 32 floors up, floor-to-ceiling windows, the entire city laid out beneath me like a map. That's all I wanted. A few days alone, no work, no noise, just that view and my own company. The front desk woman smiled when I checked in, told me the top floor was nearly empty this time of year. Only 2 other rooms booked besides mine. I remember thinking that sounded perfect, quiet, private, exactly what I needed. I was wrong. The first night was fine. I ordered room service, sat by the window watching the city lights blur in the rain, and eventually ended up on my bed playing games on my phone. It was past midnight. Maybe 12:30 a.m. The floor was silent the way only near empty buildings can be silent. That deep, hollow quiet that makes your own breathing sound loud. And then I heard footsteps. Not one person. Multiple. 4, 5 people walking heavily down the hallway outside my door. And then knocking. Hard, aggressive knocking. Not on my door. Further down the hall. 4, 5 heavy knocks that echoed through the entire floor. I sat up. I waited. Silence. I don't know why I got up. Curiosity, maybe. I opened my door and looked out into the hallway. Empty. Completely empty. The hallway lights hummed faintly. Not a single person in either direction. I walked slowly toward the rooms I knew were booked. Stood outside one of them. Pressed my ear gently against the door. Nothing. Not a breath. Not a movement. Just silence so complete it felt almost wrong. I told myself it was other guests. Maybe they went back inside quickly. Maybe sound travels strangely on high floors. I went back to my room and eventually fell asleep. I almost forgot about it by morning. Almost. It was the second night when things stopped feeling explainable. I'd been in my room most of the day. Around 2 a.m. I got up to use the bathroom and turned on the tap. Nothing came out. I tried the other tap. Nothing. I picked up my phone to call the front desk. No signal. I picked up the room landline. Dead. I decided to just go downstairs and tell someone in person. Simple enough. I stepped out into the hallway, and that's when I saw it. Outside one of the booked rooms, lying on the floor against the wall, was a black umbrella. Closed. Just sitting there on the carpet like someone had set it down and walked away. No reason for it to be there. No explanation. I stared at it for a moment. It made me uncomfortable in a way I couldn't quite explain. Not terrifying, just deeply wrong. Like a detail that didn't belong in the picture. But I needed the bathroom more than I needed answers, so I took the stairs down, spoke to the front desk about the water, and came back up maybe 10 minutes later. The umbrella was gone. I stood in that hallway for a long time, staring at the empty spot on the carpet where it had been. The carpet wasn't even disturbed. Like nothing had ever been there. I went back to my room and locked the door. Both locks. I should have checked out that morning. Looking back now, I know that. But I kept finding rational explanations. Housekeeping picked it up. A guest grabbed it on their way out. Simple, normal. I was overthinking it, so I stayed. Third night. I finished gaming around 1 a.m. and decided to sleep. I was actually relaxed. Comfortable even. I remember thinking I'd been paranoid for nothing. I was almost asleep when the knocking started. On my door. I opened my eyes and stared at the ceiling. 3 more knocks. Still measured. Patient. I didn't move. My brain was running through every possibility. Staff wouldn't knock at 1 a.m. unless it was an emergency. They'd call first. The other guests had no reason to knock on my door. Nobody knew me here. Then it changed. 3 knocks so heavy the door physically shook in its frame. Not knocking anymore. Pounding. Like something trying to come through rather than asking to be let in. I grabbed my phone. No signal. I grabbed the landline. This time, it worked. I called the front desk with my hands shaking and told them someone was trying to break into my room. Please send someone up. Now. They arrived in less than 3 minutes, 2 staff members. They opened my door and looked both ways down the hallway. Empty. Sir, there's no one here. Are you all right? I told them about the knocking, the force of it. I told them to check the other booked rooms, check on the other guests. The older staff member looked at me with an expression I still think about. Sir, he said quietly, there are no other booked rooms on this floor. There haven't been since you checked in. You're the only guest on the 32nd floor. I heard the words. I understood them. But they didn't make sense. I told them about the footsteps the first night, the knocking down the hallway, the umbrella outside the room, the umbrella that disappeared. They exchanged a look I wasn't supposed to see. I told them to check that room, the one where I'd seen the umbrella. The staff member hesitated, then nodded and led me down the hallway. He unlocked the door and pushed it open. The room was pristine, untouched. Beds made with military precision, curtains drawn. The air inside stale and undisturbed like a room that hadn't been opened in weeks. I asked them to pull the CCTV footage from the hallway. I was almost begging at that point. I needed to see something, needed proof that I wasn't losing my mind. They showed me on a tablet at the front desk. Hallway footage from all 3 nights. The first night. My door opens. I step out and look down the hallway. I walk to the other room, press my ear to the door, walk back. The hallway behind me the entire time. Empty. Second night. I step out, walk past the spot where I saw the umbrella, take the stairs, return 10 minutes later, stop in the hallway and stare at the wall for almost 2 full minutes. There was no umbrella. Not in the footage, not at any point. Just me, standing alone in an empty hallway, staring at nothing. I didn't call the police. I didn't argue. I went back upstairs, packed my bag in under 10 minutes, and drove to my friend's apartment across the city. He asked me why I showed up at 3 a.m. with my luggage. I told him the hotel had a water problem. I've never told anyone the real reason, not until now. I don't know what was in that hallway. I don't know what knocked on my door. I don't know why I saw things that the cameras couldn't see. But I know this. When the staff member showed me that footage, right before he turned the tablet off, I saw something in the corner of the frame. Top right. Almost out of shot. A shadow. Standing completely still at the far end of the hallway. He turned the screen off before I could say anything, and he never mentioned it.